is me, Ruowen Huang. Before I begin, let me first introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. In this very particular episode, let's talk about time dimension. But before I get into it, let me clarify one more time. I am not a scientist. Everything I share with you is simply based on what I see, what I observe, and what I know based on what I study so far. So, the reason I'm providing my perspective is simply giving you another aspect of looking at things and hoping to help you understand things a little bit better. So anyway, we have talked about dimensions in the last episode, and sure enough, a lot of people do not understand how to see applying to my life or etc. As I cannot really get into the detail with you, I can simply break everything into small pieces and hoping one day it will all make sense to you, as it took me years to finally get it. So sure enough, while we are talking about dimension in the spirituality, does that mean that we can apply dimension in other area as well? Of course. As we have mentioned in the previous episode, like basically every later dimension is an extension of the previous dimension. So if you understand the concept, it should help you understand you can use that mindset and apply everything else. So, in the following couple concepts, I will try to break it down in a different aspect, just simply give you guys idea. So it's not everything, but it's kind of kickstart to help you understand how dimension work when you try to apply it on different angle aspect. So in this very particular episode, let's talk about time dimension. Why people believing time is or all time people believe time dimension is basically a linear way. There's really not much you can do about it. Now, apply to what I have shared with you in the previous episode. Assuming dimension itself start with 1D is basically one thing and nothing more. So if we apply into time, that first dimension for time would be now. That is, you cannot go to the past, you cannot go to the future, you can only be now. So when my mindset can only get now to think about it, and I have no time to think about the past, I got no time to think about the future, then that what we call time dimension is now. That's all you have. When we get into the second dimension, we start to understand the concept, time is not just now. Time has past to now, or now to the future. But most likely, since the future is something that is not concrete or solid or happen, people focus more on now and the past. What was past and what it is now. Right? So because the past happened then that's why I am the way I am right now. So when you are in 2D, that's basically how time is presented to you. When you get into 3D, you start to understand past and now exists every moment of now, right? So it's basically accumulation or extension or whatever you call it. A lot of collectible now moment to create where I am right now. So we start to realize it's no longer just past and it's no longer just me, and it's a lot of every now moment to create where I am right now. So then that's when people's mindset start thinking about, well, from the past to now, there's so many moments in my past that if I have done something different, then I will be a different outcome. So that's when people's mindset start to think, well, only if I have changed something in that moment, right? Because if you only 2D, there's no possibility of possibly go back or alternative result. That's only simple past. The past happened. This is where I am right now. But when people start thinking, well, there's a moment in my time, only if I have done something different, then my outcome will be different. And that kind of mindset will help them to actually start thinking, well, if I do something different right now, maybe my future will be different. So that's when time dimensions start become more complex and into the 3D dimension. So of course, as we get into the 4D dimension, we start to not only think about the past and now, we start to think about the past moment, how the past moment, something that's already happened or even something that's happening now is going to impact my future. So that's very often when you guys start to discussing or talk about my birth family, how it impact me, how I got brought up, and how most likely the decision I'll make in the future. So this is how you start to realize that people start using your past to predict. It's not no longer impact where you are right now, but start to predict what kind of behavior, what kind of decision that you will make in the future. So that is when I would say we are entering the 4D, the fourth dimension of time when it comes to time. And as so far you can see, when we come to the 4D, we are in a very passive environment. That is, there's nothing we can do about it. And we solely believe there's nothing we can do about it. We cannot go back in time. We cannot change anything. And we can only be passively directing it and progressing it in the future, but nothing you can do in the past. But when you are entering the 5D, the 5 dimension of the time, you will start to realize that is not true. There's a way, there's a technique, there's a skill. Like for me, for example, very often we use regression, healing, etc. to help people to go back to the past in certain point to change some mindset, do some healing, and in that moment the past was healed, that past incident was healed, the current moment got healed accordingly, and meanwhile the future outcome would look different as well. So when people are entering to 5D, they start to realize I am no longer limited at the moment of now. I can actually travel to the past or even travel to the future and to make change of them and then meanwhile alter my present and alter my past. So hope you still follow. I'm not gonna go to so many because I cannot talk about something I don't know. So I can simply share with you guys something I know enough to share. So as we get into the 6D, sixth dimension of time, we will start to realize past, now, and the future exists all at the same time. And the reason I would say that is, since we start getting to the 5D dimension and we realize how one movement, one decision, or one action can actually impact us, that's when we start to realize, oh, there is a way for us, either mentally, spiritually, and maybe in the future, who knows, physically able to travel to certain point of our life to alter certain mindset, heal ourselves in certain environment situation, then that is going to impact me as a soul in the bigger picture. That's when we start to realize past, now, and the future actually exists at the same time. So when we start to exercise that, when we are entering the 7D dimension, that very often we start to realize it's no longer focusing on one outcome need to be changed. And then it will change any outcome in any now moment of any timeline. Does that make sense to you? I hope it makes sense. So since the 6D dimension, we able literally move around the time in our mindset, like this is my life and I can literally move any time frame to change this outcome. Now, as we go into the 7D, 7 dimension of the time, we realize I can literally move my mindset forward, backward, now, or anywhere to change certain mindset. Such, I know it's complex. Let me try to give you an example. If I remember like the sense of I feel like nobody loved me, the source of it is created by the incidents when it happened, like when I was 5 years old. Therefore, when I was, 15 years old, first time break up with a boyfriend, I was so heartbroken because I felt like nobody loved me and etc. And to now at this moment, maybe in the family setting, I feel like nobody loved me. So you may have an exercise or whatever you do. I know personally know there's a lot of ways. So you can go back to that time, heal that 5-year-old, and then by that action taken, you would naturally heal the 15 years old or your current stage. Or you can go to 15 years old by healing 15 years old, and then you naturally heal 5-year-old you. Or sometimes without going back to time, you can go to your future, creating an image that you really feel love. At that moment, the image is formed. You at the present and the child in the past will also get healed. I hope you guys follow. But anyway, I'm gonna stop here because I realize it could be more complex. So anyway, so if you understand that, then you will start to understand time itself actually does not have not what we thought it is. It only go one direction, and I cannot go back in time. There's nothing I can do about it. As you start pursuing this spiritual journey, you start to realize in time dimension, as I often say in the early episode I did, soul is not limited by time and space. This would be a classic example, like how time actually comes with a lot of dimension, and it have a lot to do with the human vibration too. When you are doing something that you don't like, time seems slow. While you're doing something you like, time seems to go by so much faster. So time itself is not what we know as never change. That was simply for our reference. Time itself is actually way bigger and complex dimension than what we know as the moment of now. So anyway, hope that clarify it or make it more complex. I got no idea. So anyway, hope that made any sense to you guys. So if you like what I'm doing, follow, share, and like. I see you guys next time. Bye now.